show y'all and do a quick tutorial for the Alpine stitch. So as you can see, the stitch, it has such a pretty texture to it. I love the texture. It would be a great stitch this winter for cows, blankets, beanies, different things. It has just such this great texture. I love it. And as you can see, it looks a little bit of a more complex stitch, but trust me, it's very easy to do, and I'll show y'all how to do it. That is the one word I would use to describe this stitch, is texture. I would say it has so much texture to it, and it makes up a quite nice stitch that's not real holey and see-through. As you can see, there's not a lot of gaps or holes in this stitch, which makes it perfect for a stitch to use for winter pieces and stuff. And before we get started real quick, I want to mention, if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, be sure and click the subscribe button so you'll never miss any of my stitch tutorials or free patterns that I post. And so click subscribe and we will get started and jump right into it. So to get started, you're going to need a worsted weight yarn. I'm using I Love This yarn, and I'm using a 5mm or H hook. For this particular stitch, to get started, you want to chain a multiple of 2 plus 1. So for this test piece, I will be chaining 25. Okay, so once you've chained 25, you will then start in the second chain from your hook and work a single crochet. And you're going to work a single crochet in each chain stitch across. So row 1 is very simple. The first few rows are going to be very simple. I am going to just work a single crochet in each chain stitch across, and meet you up when I get done. Okay. And once you finish that row, that's what it looked like. Going on to row 2, we will chain 2, turn our work, and I'm going to mention that this chain 2 counts as a stitch. So I am going to work a double crochet in each stitch across, but since our chain 2 counts as a stitch, we will make sure we will not put a double crochet in this very first stitch. So start in the first stitch right here and work a double crochet in each stitch across. So here's the end of row 2. This is what it look like. Going on to row 3, we're going to repeat row 1. We're going to chain 1, turn, and we're going to work a single crochet in each stitch across. Okay, and on round 3, there is one thing I do want to mention. When you get back towards the very end of round 3, working your single crochet in each stitch, when you get back, remember that that chain 2 does count as a stitch, so you will work a single crochet in that top of that chain 2. So I just want to make sure you do that so your sides will be even and they won't veer in and they'll come and be straight. So that is row 3. Moving on to row 4, we will finally get started on what will make it look like the Alpine stitch. So for row 4, we will chain 2, and we're going to turn our work. And to start the Alpine stitch, we're going to double crochet in our first stitch. And then we're going to skip this next stitch. Instead of crocheting into our single crochet, we're actually going to jump down here and double crochet around the post of this double crochet. So if you'll think about them lined up on top of each other, okay, I just double crocheted in this one, and here's our next one. Well, I'm not going to go into the stitch of the single crochet. I'm going to work a double crochet around the post of this double crochet. So I've yarned over. I'm going to insert my hook behind the stitch, going to grab my yarn, and then I'm going to pull it up even with the double crochet on the row I'm working on, and I'm going to pull it through 2 loops, and then yarn over, pull through 2 more loops. So you see what I've done there? And so then that's what is going to give us that look. So then the next stitch, because we're going to skip the stitch behind it, so this very next stitch, I'm going to work a double crochet. Like so. So you just skip 1 stitch behind it, 1 single crochet. So now this next stitch, we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to skip the single crochet, and I'm going to reach all the way down here and work a double crochet, pull my yarn up around the post of that stitch. Okay, so I'm going to skip the stitch behind it and work a double crochet in the next stitch. Like so. And that's what it's looking like so far. So we're starting to get to look like the Alpine stitch. So okay, the next stitch, we'll skip the single crochet and jump down here to the double. Pull up. Like so. I'm going to skip the stitch behind it, double crochet in the next stitch. And you're just going to repeat that all the way across. That's what it's looking like so far. So you can see how that's kind of working out. So it's like every other stitch. And you just repeat that all the way across here. I'll do it again. So we're going to yarn over. We're going to skip the single crochet and jump down to the double crochet. Pull our yarn up. Skip the single crochet behind and double crochet in the next one. And I'm going to repeat that all the way across, and I'll meet you up when I get to the end. Back to the very end here, and after you've worked a front post, double crochet around the double crochet, make sure and work a double crochet in the very last stitch of the round, and that will be row 4, and that's what it looks like so far. Is that pretty? And we'll continue on to the next row, row 5. We will chain 1, turn our work, and work a single crochet in each stitch across. To the very end of row 5, I just want to remind you again to make sure you work a single crochet in that very last stitch, which will be the chain 2. Just make sure you do that. And there is the wrong side, and I'll flip it over here. And there's the right side, and we're going to do another row for our Alpine stitch. So I'm going to chain 2 and turn our work. And this is row 6. And for row 6, we are going to start with the opposite of the way we did last time. Last time we started with a double crochet, then a front post, then a double crochet. But this time we're going to do the opposite. So instead of starting with a double crochet here in the first stitch, we're going to jump down and work a front post, double crochet around this double crochet stitch. Pull up and work it. And then we're going to skip that first stitch, the next single crochet, work a double crochet, like so. And we're going to repeat that all the way across. And then it'll give our stitches in opposites. Our front post will be in opposites, which gives it the Alpine stitch its look. So it's pretty easy to remember what row you're on by just looking at your work. So if you stop, you'll pretty much remember which row to start on. So I'm going to skip the single crochet and jump down into a front post around this double crochet, a front post double crochet. Pull my yarn up, skip the stitch behind it and work a double crochet in the next stitch. And then I'm going to the next stitch, skip it, and work a front post double crochet around it. And you're pretty much just going to repeat that all the way across. Pretty much like the fourth row, it's just kind of opposite of it. So I'm going to repeat that across and meet you up when I get there. And when you reach the end of row 6 here and you have double crocheted and you still have one stitch left, you're just going to work another double crochet in that very last stitch to even it out. Like so. And that's what it's going to look like after row 6. For row 7, you will chain 1, turn your work, and single crochet in each stitch across. And then you're just going to repeat rows 4, 5, 6, and 7 across, or up as many times as you want until you finish your piece, since as large as you want it. And that is how easy it is to crochet the Alpine stitch. If y'all need to rewatch rows 4, 5, 6, and 7, you can be sure to rewind this video and watch those again. And thank y'all so much for watching this video. If y'all haven't subscribed, be sure and subscribe and check out my blog for free crochet patterns and other stitch tutorials. And happy crocheting, guys!